All right. Hi, everyone. I hope my microphones are working. Never know. Anyway, welcome to Out of Mudlick Road. Yes, like out of Compton, that one. Yeah. So this is Out of Mudlick Road. And today, I just want to just talk briefly about a few things that are coming up that I hope to do that's what's been going on, just to give you another day in the life of. So yesterday morning, you heard me talking about it yesterday during the shows about having to get mom up off the floor out of her bedroom and things and all that. Well, this morning, about 5 o'clock or so, my medical alert system goes off here in the back room, and it's my brother Gideon had decided well, he had found mom on the floor in the living room, and so I knew the sound a little bit different that time, so I knew it came from in the living room. But anyway, so yeah, so she had slipped out of her chair, or somehow or the other, she didn't sit down properly into it. She's been trying to get up and move around a lot on her own, and without her walker and stuff. And I know she's just trying. She's very fiercely independent. I don't know where that we get it from. Can't imagine how we got that, but it seemed to have run in the family. Mom and dad, fiercely independent bunch of people. So anyway, she was sitting in the floor in front of her recliner, and Gideon can't do anything. I mean, he was out of wind just from going from his couch over to where mom was at in the floor and on her recliner. So it was a struggle. So I had to pick her up. And that, I want to tell you, it takes a minute. You have to figure out how you can maneuver these things and get things situated for her so that you can get her up off the floor, because her feet will slide out from under her if you pick her up, and she can't help you very much until she gets up high enough to get her knees under her. So you kind of have to do a little bit of planning ahead, moving, kind of coordinating things. So I get a stool, so low stool to the floor, one that's closer to the floor, and you have to kind of elevate, pick her up and put her on that, and then pick her up and get her on the other things. And it's a it's a movement process. It really is. And so that's what I've been dealing with today. And that was this morning. Checked all of her vitals. Everything was good. I mean, she had her vitals were good and all that. So we just had to make sure she had something to eat, and don't know if she had much to eat this morning at all. I know. Just tried to give her something, whatever I could. So now she's resting. She's sleeping in the living room. But I did call. My doctor's office, her doctor's office, and find out if the insurance would cover some kind of lifting system. But that's only towards the end of life care, or if you got a hospital bed in the house or something like that. So we don't have all of that. So my brother and I are going to have to figure out something that we can use to that we can figure out how to pick her up. I mean, let me see, running through a bunch of different ideas. Let me see. I can find a piece of soft aluminum or a piece of soft wood or something I can put a foam cushion on, and wrap it up, make it look good, and it's something that's close to the floor that I could actually get her to sit on. And you're thinking, now, how's that going to help? Well, my brother's shop, he's got a couple of things out there that just might work. There's a floor jack that he uses to lift up cars. So if we can get the cushion and stuff situated on top of the floor jack, it's low to the floor. You could raise her up high enough to be able to get her up a little higher. It's hard for me to pick her up, and I do it. But I really have to coordinate where things are going. I'll get a hold of her where her feet are pointed. If she can put her feet towards something that helps me kind of help hold on to wherever I am. So it's a challenge. Okay, it really is. And yeah. So the other option was it's also my brother's shop out back, and he does a lot of work on cars. So he was thinking, and we were thinking, maybe we could just use that engine lift that he has for his cars, pull the engines out of the front of the car or the back of the car, wherever you might find your engine. That it's an engine lift, an extractor thing. It goes over, grabs the engine, and you set out. Maybe we could do something like that. Or then I was thinking just a little bit ago, I was thinking, well, maybe some of those seat swings, a swing kind of thing that you can put your babies in or your children in or something, like kind of secure them in place. But then it's something she could sit in, and then all you got to do is grab the handle on either side, and two people could pick her up like that. But if you've got one person, well, maybe you still have to get that floor jack. I don't know. I called the doctor's office. The insurance won't cover any kind of bed lift system unless it's in the life stage. And then they had no suggestions whatsoever about how to proceed. And I told them, I said, look, we're just going to figure out something. I guess we're pretty creative around here. We'll come up with something, right? So that's where we are. But the other thing is, I've got my a dear friend down in Florida who is in extended care at a VA facility down there, 80 years old tomorrow, I think 80 or 81. And she was a paratrooper in Vietnam, jumped 125 times out of airplanes and stuff. And she's approaching the end of her life too. And she's sedated a lot and everything like that. It's really hard for her to get around and do anything. And so we got other friends down there who are like the patient advocates at the VA facility. So I'm hoping I can get down there this weekend. I don't know if I can. I'll have to drive because it'd take me almost as long to fly. When you leave from Huntington or Charleston, West Virginia, you're either going to go to Midway or Charleston or Charlotte and sit there for a couple hours. And then hopefully you'll end up in Gainesville, Florida, or Jacksonville, Florida, if they don't take you on down to Miami and fly you back up. Who knows? You'll end up. It takes a while to fly, and then you have to rent the car, and you still got all that to deal with. So I'll drive if I can make arrangements to make it happen. I don't know yet because I have to make sure. I've got family coming over Friday night and going to be here this weekend, so it's going to be a really fast trip if I can make it happen to get down to Florida. But I have to be able to pick my mom up off the floor, and whoever comes has got to be able to do that too. And that is no easy task. Picking up someone dead weight is really difficult. I mean, it's hard for me, and I'm no spring chicken anymore. I can do it. I know how to leverage things and use the physics of it. And I know how to maneuver things around, make all that happen to get her up off the floor. But it's really a challenge. And then, you know, so if I do go to Florida, I got to make sure all of that is possible. Make sure all the food is in place here and instructions are here for anyone who might be stepping in to give all the medicines, check all the shots, and do all that kind of stuff for everybody. So that's where we are. Still figuring out all that stuff, kind of figuring it out. We got to get everything rolling in the right direction. It's a challenge, really. It is really. It's a good challenge, though. I don't mind challenges. I would go down to Tuscaloosa and stay with one of my two daughters down there. Two daughters and two grandkids in Tuscaloosa, and in-laws and outlaws down there, and just go down and spend a night with them, and then rush back up here, back up to Eastern Kentucky, because I can't whatever I do this weekend can't go beyond Sunday night. Why? Because I'm the first to retire out of this whole bunch of people around here. Well, I think my brother retired maybe a little earlier than me because of his health issues and things. But it's like, yeah. So I'm the oldest of six, and the rest of the siblings work and have all their lives to deal with. So it's really, and Monday they have to go back to work if they're not working this weekend. Some of them are. Some are working this coming weekend. And so we have a lot of things going on. And then next week, I'm planning on doing this Directive 81 thing. It's top secret. Don't tell anyone, though. Don't tell anyone at all about this. I mean, it's not like I'm sharing this to the world, right? Anyway, next week, I'm starting a summit. We're going to have a week-long summit, and it'll be online primarily, mostly. I doubt anyone will show up here and rock with me on the porch. They probably won't go out and come up here in Mudlick and want to sit on the front porch and rock, eat marshmallows and drink sweet tea, right? Not happening. I'd love to have, Pam Bondi and Cash Patel and Dan Bongino around, maybe even Tom Holman around. Just said, come on in, let's sit down and have a conversation on the front porch. So, we got this thing out here that looks pretty much just like a Cracker Barrel, almost more rustic. But the difference between here and Cracker Barrel is that there's a mountain 100 feet in front of the house and a mountain 100 feet behind the house. So, at least we were really up in a tight holler, folks. And if you listen real close, you might hear the songs for Deliverance playing in the background. The banjo is going, whatever it sounds like. Or maybe you might even hear, "Oh, brother, where art thou?" Yeah, no, we're not that far back in the woods. Yeah, we are. But this is hillbilly country for sure. It is God's country around here. It's beautiful too. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. I do want to get on top of these mountains when the foliage starts to change colors. It's starting higher and higher elevations. Um, I was told yesterday by the physical therapist comes in and talks to mom that go over to the Breaks. The Breaks is a place that's on the line between Kentucky and Virginia and in Pike County. I think it's Pike County. Between Pike County and Russell County, Virginia. And so go over there and you can watch it. And it's really beautiful, she said, and just to go over there and see all that. I haven't been to the Breaks in probably 30 years or more. It's been decades since I've been to the Breaks over there. But anyway, so there's a lot of beauty around here, and there's a lot of if you're interested in ATV systems and riding and getting out of the mountains on your four-wheel drive thingy bobber, there are miles and miles, literally hundreds of miles of trails all over Pike County, Kentucky, and all over Mingo County, West Virginia. They're here. People come in here from all over the place. They're here year round. They'll rent the cabins and they're here all the time. And they've got access to highways as long as they wear their helmet and all that kind of stuff. If you want an adventure, you come here in the Hatfield McCoy Feud Trail System and get a cabin somewhere and just bring your ATV or whatever, and then take off into the woods. And it's I've been here and I've not done it. But I do know that a lot of people do it. There's a lot of corporations actually rent this for their esprit de corps events. They'll bring their company members around here and send them out on ATVs. They'll rent these things out a year in advance, the cabins and things. And so if you're looking for them, you find them on Airbnb and Vrbo and places like that. But anyway, that's my promo for the county, the ATV trail system, Hatfield McCoy Trails. Trail systems in Mingo County and Pike County, Mingo, West Virginia, Pike County, Kentucky. I mean, it's gorgeous around here. When I was growing up, I thought this was the ugliest place. The butt end of the world was around here. I was in a hurry to get out. And I come back and it's like, my gosh, I wasn't aware of all this beauty and all these vibrant colors around at all. So starting next week, Monday, 7 a.m., once I get back from down in Lake City, Florida, if I'm able to get down there, and I hope that I am, because my friend is asking for me, and I've got to get down there some way. But I also have obligations here with this family. I have to make sure everything's taken care of with my family here in Kentucky. But I hope to get down there to see my friend who's been asking for me now and been really sedated and unable to talk even on the phone much. So the end is approaching quickly, and I hate it. I hate it because she's such a good person. I've known her for years now. And like I said before, she has jumped out of perfectly good airplanes into combat zones 125 times in Vietnam. And she told me that she did the 125th jump, and that was it. She said, "I'm afraid my luck's about to run out," so she stopped. No more jumps. Made it back safely. Thank God for that, right? So anyway, yeah. So I'm worried about her and a lot of other friends who are getting up there old. My mom is older than that. My mom is 86, soon to be 87 in December, and her cognitive abilities are declining. She seems to be sharp at some moments and really cognitively there and everything, and then other moments it's complete blank slate. I'm having to give instructions on how to turn around and which room to go into and how to turn to sit so that she doesn't sit on the edge of the chair and then end up in the floor, which has happened. And so those are the things that I deal with as one of these trans terrorists from Appalachia here on Mudlick Road in Hardy, Pike County, Kentucky. And if anyone from the federal agencies, any of the three-letter agencies anywhere around there, are you wanting to track this trans terrorist here in Eastern Kentucky, well, I am putting on a program next week. It's going to last all week long, all the way through Sunday. And, it's a training session and kind of get people acclimated to the fact that I'm doing some trainings around here for trans terrorists. So Jesse Waters and Will Kane and all those people over there, and Joel Weebon and Matt Walsh and all those people, Chris Rufo. I mean, if you listen in on this show, if you're listening in or you watch this at some point in time, I'm one of those trans terrorists, satirically, but I'm one of those trans terrorists. And I'd love to have you come down and just sit with me on the porch out here and let's have a conversation over sweet tea and a couple of all bless your little hearts. Okay, come on down. But the syllabus for next week, the training program, oh, it is a doozy, folks. It is something else. It is awesome, really. So I'm gonna see if I can pull it up here while we're talking. We got a few more minutes. I'm gonna pull this up and do this. So while it's loading in the background here for, so it's a program that's going to talk about how to be a, and then how to survive and thrive in this world, and then how to change minds. Every time you walk into Walmart and you meet the greeter, we should be changing hearts and minds. That's what it's all about, folks. That's really what it's all about. So Cash Patel and Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi and Tom Holman and that whole bunch up there. And I'd love to have Doug Collins from the VA in here too. And even my cousin, a distant, very distant cousin, but cousin nonetheless, JD Bowen Vance. I'd love to have JD in here. I mean, come on, you meet some of your Vance family back here in these hills, folks. Come on in, and we'll just sit down on the front porch, and just have quite a few of those bless your little heart statements. Yeah. I won't even sick the neighbor's pigs on you. No, they don't have pigs. The pavement does end just a little bit up the road from here, like 3 or 4 houses up the road from where I am right now. It ends up there, and then it goes another mile with trail system, basically, and woods and trees and bears. There are a lot of bears around here, and lots of deer. The deer are all over the place around here. I've had to stop several times on this one-lane road around here just to let the deer cross. It was a deer crossing. You know that blonde joke? No, no. You get all upset when the deer don't cross at the deer crossing. Oh my God. But if you do come up in here, all you highfalutin people from the big city out there, if you come in from DC or wherever you might be, just know that when you turn on the Mudlick Road out at Hardy, Kentucky, when you turn up Mudlick Road, there's no sign there. And the bridge is small. And you have to be careful because you'll end up in the creek. It's happened. And then you go up this one-lane road that twists and turns, and there's lots of houses up through here. I mean, it's not like a metropolis or anything. It's a holler, Kentucky holler. So, and the road is paved all the way past our little place up here, my brother's home, where I'm staying here taking care of everybody as a caregiver. So, I mean, it's a one-lane road all the way up. So, if you have traffic coming toward you, the thing you've got to do is if you are the closest to a turnoff spot that's on your side of the road, well, you take it. And if they are the closest to a turnoff spot and it's on their side of the road, they take it. And it's kind of a mutual respect and planning thing to go up this road. And also the thing is the paved part of the road, there are places where the pavement is about 2 feet, 1 to 2 feet down a ditch. Just goes shoom, right off the pavement into a ditch on both sides. So it's a one-lane road, and you've got to be careful. You can't be distracted. If you come up Mudlick Road, you cannot be distracted. The moment you get distracted, you will end up in the ditch and have to have a wrecker call you out because you will not be able to back out or pull out. That's true. Very true. And just imagine that for the winter when there's snow on the ground. I mean, it is, you got snow and it's kind of smooth like this. And they plowed the road just a little bit if you catch it when they plow the road. And then, I mean, if you drift off of that pavement, your tires get off the pavement the least little bit, you might as well go ahead and call the wrecker. You're going to have to be towed out of that ditch. You are not getting out on your own. And the snow doesn't even have to be there. It'll happen regardless. I've seen it. I've seen it a couple of times. People just kind of not used to the road. Most people drive around like this. Yeah, how's it going? Well, the signal doesn't work real well up in here for AT&T. But anyway, so you're distracted, you're talking to people, you got your phones on, or you got your internal systems on in your vehicles, and you're communicating and you're constantly in contact with someone. But let me tell you something, if you do that on this road, we'll have to tow you out of the ditch. Because you won't make it. So this requires your full, immediate, hands-on, direct attention to what you're doing directly at that moment in time. Because otherwise, we're going to have to come and get you. Bring the horses down and the big buggies and pull you out. No, not to get the record. It can take a while to get a record. So, yeah, and just think, just imagine, here you are, you're stuck in a ditch on Mudlick Road. You don't know anybody, and your tag says federal government on the back. Yeah, yeah, I'd be real careful if I were you. The people here are they are the live and let live kind of people. I mean, if they see you as being someone who contributes to the community around here and helps out or whatever, you're there for other people, you're there for your family, you're there for your neighbors, which we have to do all the time. For instance, I'll give you an idea. The first year I was here, then just several months of getting here, my brother came running to get me and asked me if I heard a noise up the road, up two houses above us here. And it was at night. And he came and got me and said, "You hear that? You hear that noise up there?" And it was somebody yelling, "Help me! Help me! Help me!" So he and I jumped in the closest car, drove up to our neighbor's house, and here an older lady had fallen out behind her house, and it was cold, and she had been there most of the night, just lying back there. She didn't have any way of connecting anyone else. All she could do was just yell out loud and hope someone would hear her. And so we got her up. We got her into the house and got her to call her daughter, who lives just down the road. Not very, I mean, just several houses down from here. So when you hear this is a community that helps each other, you live and let live, and it doesn't matter who you are. They're not going to stand there and judge you and evaluate you on whether or not you look like them, sound like them, believe like them, or any of those characteristics is not relevant. Are you a good human being where you are? Do you help other people? Do you contribute in some positive way? And that's what the program all next week's going to be about, because you're going to learn how to make Irma's burger. That's my sister, Irma's burger. And the way you have to do it is you have to be really attentive to what she says. And because she can't communicate in words, it's kind of nonverbal communications and a lot of sound and things and she can't hear real well. So you're going to have to, you really got to listen closely. And sometimes she'll tell you that she wants a hamburger that's on a toasted bun. And sometimes she says on toasted bun with mayo or with an onion or with a tomato and chips or something to go along with it, and fries or whatever. And so it's a process. It's a really delicate balance of trying to figure out how to help the people you love, how to help the people you care about here in these hills. Okay. And to me, that's what's going on with all of it, everything around me. And that's why I try to make fun of this garbage about trans terrorists out here. There are so few people who are trans who are shooting up and causing violence and harm and invading spaces they shouldn't be in. Most of us are reasonable people, and we try to fit in as best we can. We try to not just fit in, but to be real. And it's a challenge because we have a lot of people who think they know what real means, and they try to force us to be real on their terms. Well, so what? Do you? That's fine. I'm going to do everything I can not to be an issue for anyone around me, but at the same time, you're not going to walk on me either. So this next week is going to be all about that training program. So let me just share the screen really quick. I got a few minutes. We'll do this. I make a lot of noises while I'm doing all this. I know there's some comments over there too. I'll get to those in a minute. So right now what you're looking at is this program for next week. Directive 81, the Appalachian Trans Terror Summit, starts next week, 7 a.m. on Monday. And starts at 7 a.m. because I have to wake mom up, make sure to get her vitals and check everything, make sure she's good, make sure she gets her shots and takes care of all that, gets food, water, and then any other thing that might need to take place in terms of making sure she's all right, and the bedclothes are all right, and everything's in good shape. And then the objective is this: the mission objective. Let me look. Let me tell you something here. If you aren't using AI, you're falling behind. I give AI prompts of where I want to go and how I want to develop a particular line of thinking or stories or whatever. And then it also has, since I'm using a pro version, it knows everything else that I have done with the AI system in the past because it's tracking all that. So I could say something like, hey, AI, whichever one, could you, using the information you have on me and the stories that you and I have worked together to produce in the past, let's come up with something about the day in the life of, or come up with this program, this 7-day training program for Terror Summit. Okay. Yeah. And it does that. And it knows the way I talk. It knows the way that I write. It knows the things that work for me. And it incorporates that. And it does it without having a lot of me saying that's not the right word, that's not the way to say it, even though I do check and review things. Okay, so this one right here, though, this mission objective, this is entirely AI based on everything else it knows about what I do and write regarding trans people, regarding life on Mudlick Road, regarding the family that I have here, what I'm doing as a caregiver here. It knows all of that. I don't mind that it knows that. AI systems, by the way, have access, the large language models have access to more information than any human being will ever be able to read or study or review. So you have to be cautious. You do have to be cautious and check and verify things, but you get a sense of right and whether or not it's going in the right direction and things like that. You can make the tweaks to it with the prompts you use. But anyway, the mission objective right here: to subvert extremist narratives by deploying overwhelming acts of kindness, competence, and humor in a contested domestic environment. Operatives will be trained in culinary psyops, logistical support, and strategic patience. I love how that was written. I'm going to show you something, though. I'm going to show you something, okay? I'm going to take this little line right there. Now watch what I do with AI. I'm going to go over to an AI system, and I'll share a screen with an AI system, and I'll show you what I can do with that. How I can make this adaptive without giving it any idea of where I'm going to go with it. Okay, watch. Watch this. Let me pull up another AI system. If I can get one over here. Oh, maybe you can see my screen. No, you can't. So I'm going to go over here, pull up another screen. I'll pull this up and go here. And I'm going to stop sharing for a minute because, I just copied that one thing, okay? So I'm going to go over to my AI system. I'm going to show you how this works. Show it how. I did this in the hospital when Mom was in the hospital with my sister not too long ago. She and I were sitting there trying to interpret the doctor's notes. So I asked the AI system. I copied and pasted the information from the medical report, and I put it into Gemini because I have a Gemini Pro system. I'll tell you something about Gemini in just a minute too. But I'm going to say this, and we'll share screen, and we're going to do this together. I want you to see what happens when I do this. Oh, I got to do here first. I'll say window. There we go. Go there. All right. So right now you're looking at the Hello Cassandra Lee because it tracks me, and I've got all of these things over here, the history that I've worked with this AI system on, ask questions and all kinds of stuff because it has access to stuff that I don't. And if you're not using it now, you better start. And in 5 years, you'll be behind if you don't start now. So this is a pro version of this. So what I'm going to do is go in here and say, hey, Gemini, could you translate this into hillbilly for me, please? Could you translate this into hillbilly for me, please? I'd be polite with these systems. I mean, it's been really respectful of me, but whenever I say something wrong or actually come up with a piece of information or data or results that's wrong, it corrects me. It has access to stuff that I don't. And if I'm wrong, it lets me know. If I'm right, it lets me know. So cool, right? So let's go down here. I'm going to put in this piece that we just copied from over there on the mission statement. And that's not it. Wix static image. Okay, I got to go copy something else. Hold on a second. That's not it either. We'll go back here. Gemini. Let me go down one. Where'd it go? Here. Right there. Copy. Copy this. This is what I'm copying. That section. And we'll go back over here to Gemini. Where'd you go, Gemini? Come on. I have to find everything again. Okay, MP4, and I didn't want to put that in there. Paste. Paste. All right, so now I've got it in there. I've got the statement in there that I wanted to translate into hillbilly. And it's freaking funny. All right. So I just asked it to do that. It's thinking it based on information that I've given in the past. It already knows how. I mean, I only asked it that one time just on a whim on medical records, and it did such a darn good job. I was just stunned. So it says developing the hillbilly language, colloquial approach, finalizing it. Okay. All right. So here's what it did with the mission statement. Wait a second. I got to get it to blow up a little bit. Can you see that? I'm going to drop this thing off on the side here for a second. Okay. All right. Well, now here's that for you, translated into proper backwoods English. Oh my God, I'm loving it already. What we're fixing to do, the goal to shut down all that hateful and crazy talk by being so gosh darn nice, smart, and funny that they won't know what hit them. We're doing this right here at home where folks are fussing and feuding. Our people will get trained up in winning hearts and minds with a dang good casserole, hauling stuff and making sure everybody's got what they need. The high art of being as patient as a turtle on a log. Oh my God. I could translate the whole document or anything into this and pick a language, I'm sure, but this dialect, it reviewed information and came up with that itself. I don't talk like that. I don't think. Anyway. So I have a lot of fun with this stuff, y'all. Come on now. Oh, shoot. Let me stop sharing now because it's about time for me to stop and get off here in just a minute. Let me check all of our other stuff going on too. Let's go to the chat box. Let's check this out. Sharon Stewart. All right, Sharon. Thank you so much, Sharon. I do appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah. And yeah, she's going through a lot. She's talking about my mom. And yeah, that's one of the reasons I got to go ahead and run and get off here. And my cousin from Nolans, it's like driving back. It's like driving back Turkey Creek. Yeah. Well, see, there's several Turkey Creeks around here, but the one that's right here is where Mom grew up, or actually lived for a long time. I grew up with. And Jamie says, I'm pretty docile. I mind my own business. And Ness Curry, my cousin, says, love it, a great mission. And she says, also, I'm terrified of AI. So, me, it's just another tool, but it is acquiring the ability to think more more critically and more logically. Those are all mathematical processes that robots and computer systems can learn. That the more language model access they have, the more access to literature from around the world, documents and books and texts from around the world, you're not going to be able to defeat. You're not going to be able to beat them in terms of access to knowledge. So you have to you either get on board with it, get on board with that, and understand that you have limitations, and understand also AI systems have limitations. They don't know everything. And let me give you one thing to tell you why I can say that. Google's Gemini system, the one that I was just on, you really need to let it know. You need to ask it to tell you the current timestamp. What's the current day and date and time? Because whatever it has gathered, wherever the system has stopped gathering information up until recently, or wherever it might have been, wherever that cutoff point is, that's where its access to information ends. So some of the stuff I was doing last year with AI systems, it was generating things that said the former president and the hypothetical presidential staff and all this stuff. And then this year is doing the same thing. It was giving me the hypothetical stuff and saying the former President Trump, when in fact Trump was the president, is the president. So whether you like it or not. But so with Gemini, you need to do that. Grok, the one over on X, on Twitter, not so much. That one is taking off pretty fast. I love using Grok. It's the GROK over on Twitter. You know why? Because you have all of these people who think they know what's what, and they have all these pieces of data and information they put out there, and they're trying to get you to believe it, and they got all the charts and stuff to all back it up. So what I do is, and I've done this with Elon Musk, even if you'll repost something or whatever, I'll call up, I'll say, Grok, can you verify this for me, please? True or false? Can you give me the information that actually supports this or does not support this? I try to make my questions and form my question in such a way that it's not predeciding the answer or the results. And then it refutes everything that they've been saying, particularly on stats for trans terrorists and all that kind of thing. Anyway, I do need to run. I go check on mom, and have a great day. Come back at 6 this evening, and we'll see what else we can talk about.